Hello and welcome to Ask Before a Trend. I'm Josh Lipton, and for the next half hour, we are breaking down the trends of today. Consumers began to show signs of cautious spending in September as retail sales rose modestly, increasing 0.2% in September. It's after a 0.6% gain in August. But retailers feeling optimistic amid their holiday quarter as companies such as Abercrombie & Fitch, Best Buy, and Kohl's raising their full-year outlooks after topping third-quarter expectations. So how are consumers thinking of the holiday shopping season? Accenture Global Retail Lead Jill Standish joins us now with a closer look. Jill, it is good to see you. So let's dig right into this. Here was one stat that stood out to me, Jill. 87% of shoppers plan to spend the same or more, and that's up from 75% last year. Unpack that for us, Joe. What is going on there? Is that suggesting strong demand? Is that inflation, pushing the dollar amount higher? What's going on?
Yeah, listen, I think, first of all, it's good news to retailers that you're seeing that increase, but a lot of that has to do with increased pricing. So let's take a step back. If you break it down, we're seeing kind of a difference in the age group. So if you're an older millennial between 36 and 48, that you're going to spend about $839. If you're Gen X, 44 to 59, about $667. So we are seeing that up from year on year. But again, a lot of that has to do with price increases rather than units.
Here's another interesting stat, Jill, I thought. 76% of folks overwhelmed by too many product choices. What do you make of that? And how does a retailer respond to that, Jill, to that kind of, decision fatigue?
Yeah, listen, it was interesting, some of the results around this shopper stress. There's too many choices. There's so many ads. There's so many deals out there. How do you make a decision? One of the things that we found is how Gen AI, or the ability to use these chat bots, really helps a consumer figure out what to do. So instead of searching for a product, you can say, what do I buy for my brother? And it can give you some suggestions. So I like to say that it's the era of recommendations. Interestingly enough, we're seeing that 2/3 of consumers already use some of these tools, and they're using them for things like tracking prices, summarizing product reviews, maybe even finding out where to buy them. So product search is really changing.
Yeah, that was interesting. Gen AI adoption, you point out, Jill, jumped to 66% of consumers using it in the last 3 months. That was up from 39% a year ago. So that's interesting how they're incorporating those AI tools. Another theme in the report, Jill, I want to touch on was, how shoppers are prioritizing value. Are there certain kind of retailers, Jill, discounters or mass merchants? Who's best positioned to capitalize on that theme, do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think the retailers that actually reach consumers and can be found in this new era of recommendations. I mean, if you think about it, you can say, where do I buy this new pair of pants for my brother-in-law? Well, it's going to come up with a list. And so how are you found as a retailer when it actually suggests? There's technology behind the scenes that allows these companies or these tools to actually crawl your website, find your pricing, find your inventory position. So that's the new generative search that's out there today. And it's not all about, again, having the right deal. It's actually being found in an era of recommendations.
We're all online, of course, Joe, but what about physical stores? What role are they going to play in this holiday shopping season?
Stores are still, I always like to say stores are not going away. 3 in 10 still want to go to stores for inspiration, to touch and feel. I mean, let's face it, it is fun to go shopping. So let's hope that people still go to stores. I hope there isn't a day in my lifetime when people are sitting on a couch ordering everything online.
What about retail staff, Jill? Because I know you drilled down into that as well. What are the themes and the trends going on there? The folks who are actually selling stuff?
Yeah, I also like to say that, honestly, there's a lot of staff that really matters. You can have the best inventory, the best promotions, the best displays, and if that person on the front line is not in a good mood, it can ruin the experience. And actually, we're finding that, what's the stat here? 7 in 10 of frontline workers that we surveyed said they're a little stressed out going into holiday. So what can retailers do? Well, they can certainly reach out. I know a lot of retail executives that spend a lot of time in stores helping out, and just making sure that their front line is prepared. Because again, dealing with the public is not easy all the time. So And that front line really is an ambassador of your brand if you're a retailer.
Jill, great to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to see you. Happy holidays.
You too. Stick around. Much more As for Trends still to come. U.S. stocks rally for a third day as Fed rate cut hopes grow, while tech heavyweights Alphabet and Apple post record highs. Yahoo Finance's Jared Blikre joining us now with the trading day takeaways. Jared.
Got to start with the small fries here. Mm-hmm. Small caps have been leading, and I think investors have just been completely frustrated with small caps over the last few years. Here's what's happened over the last 3 days, up 7%. Really nice to see that. Here's the last 3 years. In fact, let's just do 5 years, kind of cover most of the pandemic. We had this big high over here. Everybody thought small caps were going to break out record highs. Then we had it again here in late 2024, and we had it again here, and we had a steep year to date, check out this chart. This was kind of a steep sell-off, but we've come roaring back. And so is this going to be the final time when small caps can start leading the market, the general market, on a prolonged basis? I'm holding my breath a little bit, but we'll have to see. I do have some decent hopes for it. I just want to show the leaders for these last 3 days because I think it's really interesting to see. Number one, everything is green here, so there has been nothing left out. In the upper left, that's home builders up 8.4%. Then you've got ARK Innovation Fund, that's disruption. Then you've got XRT as retail. IWC is microcaps. Those are outperforming the small caps, which is IWM. So the smallest of the small outperforming even the small. Then we got biotech. We're going to take a look at healthcare in a second. IPOs, regional banks, chip stocks, which have arguably been the backbone of this entire 3-year rally. Quantum stocks, gambling, transportation, another biotech, value, Mag 7, internet. The list goes on. And these are some really nice gains. So it would be great to see this rally continue. I do want to say I was checking the December seasonality. The first half of the month might see a little bit of a pullback, especially with the gains that we've seen this year. This week is a great time to be long stocks. Just be ready for a small pullback in early December, possibly, but we should be good by the end of the year, back to record highs.
Now, I know you started with small caps,
yes,
but it wasn't just those pint-sized players, was it, today?
No, it was not, because we got to talk about King Google on the race to $4 trillion, and it is doing it very quickly. First, I want to show you, here, we'll get to the Nasdaq, and here's what the Nasdaq 100 has done over the last 3 days. Very commendable. Google up, Alphabet up almost 12% there, but I'm going to put the market cap figures so we can get a gauge. So 3.917, basically $8 billion away from that $4 trillion level, and I did a whole segment showing this next chart, so I'm only going to kind of recap it real briefly, but this is the timeline to get from 1 to 2 trillion, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and we have it in 3 different phases. Here's NVIDIA, here's Apple, here's Alphabet. You can see NVIDIA did it very quickly. Apple was a bit slower. Some of these thresholds took years. In fact, all of them took multiple years. And then Alphabet took, 4 or 5 years to get that from 1 to 2 trillion. And then from 2 to 3, it took just about a year and 2/3. And now we're talking about 83 days estimated, if it keeps on track, to get to that 4 trillion from 3 to 4. So this would be a blistering pace for any big stock to do. And Alphabet is just trouncing it. And speaking of trouncing, they've got some fundamentals to prove that in the latest research, in the latest benchmark reports that compare it to ChatGPT and some of the other LLM models. I'm talking about Gemini in particular here. So Google just really impressive right here.
You mentioned healthcare earlier.
Yes.
Today's winner, by the way, which is a sector I know you've been tracking.
Yes. So healthcare over today in the last 3 days, I believe it has beaten tech on most of these time frames. So let's go to our sector, S&P 500 sectors here. I'll put the net performance back on, and there. Winner for today, this is just today, XLV in the upper left, that is healthcare. Here's 3 days, you can see it's in the number 2 spot, only next to consumer discretionary, that's Amazon and Tesla. Tesla was really the main driver there. And then here's the quarter. And this quarter, there are only 2 outperformers, And look at XLV, 14%. Number 2 is down all the way to 2%. Those are the only two that are greater than the S&P 500, which is just barely positive itself. Meanwhile, communication services, consumer discretionary, which was a leader over the last 3 days, and tech, all of these negatives. So healthcare has really been a story. It's been downtrodden. I'll just show you a quick chart here of XLV. Let's go back 5 years, cover the pandemic there too. This was painful, that peak in 2024, while the rest of the market was surging on AI hopes, just a huge drawdown. Only in the last couple months have we seen the ETF money start pouring back into the healthcare sector. One more screen here. I want to show the leaders quarter to date. This is the screen that I just showed you, which over the last 3 days was all green. Got a lot of red in here since October 1st. But in the upper left, I got 2 biotech ETFs. That's where the real action is. Think of it as the tech sector for healthcare. Both of those up about 20%, Josh.
Quick check on crypto.
Let's do it. And I'm going to go back to intraday here. That's going to be scary. So crypto not having the best day here, arguably. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. This is over the last 5 years. So even on the longer trend time frames, we're looking at a break of some pretty big trend lines here. And it's been stair-stepping down. So this is definitely in a short to medium term downtrend. This is over the last 2 months where it's lost 20%. We can broaden that out to three months. I said before 90,000 was a sell area, and it looks like over the last few days I was sold again. This market is not out of the woods until Bitcoin climbs above 110,000 because the shorts are very interested in it right now. Don't really have a bottom just yet, I don't think.
All right, thank you, buddy.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Stick around. Much more Asking for a Trend still to come. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and many of you out there may have noticed higher prices for a lot of your Thanksgiving dinner staples. Stu Leonard Jr., CEO and president of Stu Leonard's, joined Market Catalyst to share a few smart shopping tips.
Right now, what you're seeing is basically prices stable compared to last year. There's a couple little ups and downs here, but overall, this is your big guy right here, which is your turkey. Okay, everybody's looking at that. It's the same price as last year. So you're seeing some things that are the same. There's a couple things that have gone up. I'll go right at it. Look at it, sir. You got to eat one of these, Julie, for Thanksgiving. You got 2 boys, right?
Yes.
They'll gobble.
Big
They'll
eaters.
gobble.
One of us is a
right.
vegetarian, though, so you might need to pull out a tofurkey for me, Stu. But
okay. Well, then another thing you have is lobsters right now. These are actually down in price this year.
Interesting.
Okay. Milk right here is down in price. Okay. And of course, you have the poster child of inflation and everything, which are eggs. Okay. Those are down about $1 a dozen right now. So you're seeing some relief. You know, some things that went up, Julie, coffee.
Right.
They got a big drought in Brazil and Colombia. And you know what the good news is right now is Trump's relieving some of the tariffs on things like bananas, pineapples, mangoes are all tropical fruit we get from Costa Rica. He's relaxed the tariffs on them, and same with Brazil. So I think you're going to see prices stable right now for Thanksgiving and possibly even start to tick down a little bit as we approach the holiday.
Yeah. To go back to that turkey for a second, Stu, is the price that you're paying the same, or are you guys eating some of that cost in order to keep it consistent for your customers?
Well, it's really a balance. I mean, obviously, I can't eat everything. I would say we're eating about a quarter of the tariffs that are placed on us right now. Our family business, we're eating that. Okay, we don't like it, but we're keeping volume up, which is important. The store's packed. Customers are shopping. They're buying. If you talk to them, yes, I just saw a customer, and she said, the prices, she said, are ridiculous. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, look at the meat price. And I said, yeah, that's one thing that went up. She said, but, overall, for Thanksgiving, she said the prices are pretty good. And she didn't feel there was any real jump, at least in her pocketbook.
So what kind of behavior are you seeing from people if they are trying to save money in the stores?
Well, one of the things we're finding, I hope none of our managers hear me say this, but, we do a lot of demos like Costco and everything. So usually you'll see sales double, triple, maybe even go up 5 times sometimes when you demo and people can taste it. Don't buy it, okay? Stick your shopping list, okay? That'll save you some money as you get through the store.
Yeah, I hope your managers are listening to that if you're giving people that advice. I know you guys do a lot of private label also, and I imagine that is popular right now.
Well, that's one way to save money is check out private labels. There's a lot of great companies out there across the country. They make great private label items. Sometimes it's the same as the national brand. So our philosophy at Stu's is we want to have an item that's as good or better than the national brand and will save you money. So you can save money doing that. You can save. One way to save a lot of money is ask your guests and your family to bring an item over to your Thanksgiving meal so you don't have to put the whole cost of Thanksgiving.
Not to mention, you don't have to do all of the work. That's usually how I think about it, Stu, when it comes to getting people to bring stuff. Yes?
Julie, that's a good point. Do it yourself because, we have kitchens. We have hundreds of people right now making gravy and chopping making cranberry sauce. That's a lot of labor. It's a lot of expense. You do that at home, you'll save a lot of money.
That's true. Although, again, save yourself a little work if you get it pre-made. So I guess you got to weigh the various things. Yes.
Well, Julie, you've studied the financial markets, right? You have a whole history of doing that. Here, I have this thing called the mashed potato index.
Okay, tell me.
Which wouldn't you assume that when people feel good about purchasing and buying, what they do is tend to go over to our mashed potatoes with the cream and the butter, but they're $4.99 a pound. Now you can go over and buy a potato for $1 a pound. So you can save a lot of money by making your own mashed potatoes at home. So we follow, where's the meter on this? Are they buying more mashed potatoes or are they buying more packaged potatoes? And this holiday right now, they're buying more mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's really interesting, Stu. All right, before I let you go, there is something that I think has nothing to do with Thanksgiving, but you're very excited about, which is something that I admittedly am not excited to try. But you've been dipping soft serve ice cream in butter?
Come on. Look at this. I brought one for you.
Okay, so that is an ice cream cone dipped in melted butter?
Butter with a little salt. With a little salt on top of it, okay?
Why would we do this, Stu?
You know why? Because it got how many millions on TikTok? I mean, it was trending 10, 15. We did our own little thing about how to make this butter ice cream cone in the store. We got 15 million views on this thing. That's why we're doing it. It's like a social media craze. You got to jump on it. So here's the thing. I'm going to take a bite of this.
Yes.
It's crunchy. It's crunchy around the top, which is sort of cool. It like sticks to the roof of your mouth, the butter. And you get a little bit of salt on there. It's really good.
Time now for what to watch Wednesday, November 26th. Going to start off on the earnings front. Got more reports coming out on Wednesday from Deere & Company and Chinese automaker Li Auto. Deere & Company announced results for the fourth quarter in the morning. Analysts expecting Deere to give cautious 2026 guidance with profits around $5 and $5.5 billion due to weak farm incomes, uncertain trade policy, and tariffs still posing a problem. Taking a look over at the Federal Reserve, the Fed is releasing its Beige Book on Wednesday. Remember, that's the central bank's region-by-region look at how the economy is actually performing on the ground. Investors will be watching for signs of cooling in consumer spending, easing in the labor market, and how businesses are handling costs and pricing, all ahead of that important FOMC meeting in December. And moving over to the labor market, we'll be getting weekly initial jobless claims data on Wednesday. Economists forecasting jobless claims to tick up compared to the week prior to 225,000, signaling an increase in people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time. That's a wrap on today's As for Trend. Be sure to come back tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern for all of the latest market moving stories affecting your wallet.